This morning we've come down to the Paseo Maritimo in Palma just to have a walk along the front here to look at the boats. It's a little bit chilly today. My phone said it was only 12 degrees. It does feel a little bit cooler. As the sun comes through, I'm guessing it's going to warm up a little bit. So we're going to walk along the Paseo towards the cathedral and then see where we go from there. We always like to come along the front here to look at the boats. It's interesting to see some empty berths. Usually these berths are full, but there are some empty ones here. On a Sunday, it's a typical day for the residents here to come for a walk along the Paseo Maritimo. Being a little bit chilly. Quite a few people out actually. For a short time, it was only a short time, I used to work for a yacht engineering company, and that gave me the opportunity to go on board many of these boats, big ones, small ones, all sorts, and they are quite amazing craft. Reading in the newspaper today that there's only about 18 hotels in Palma open. That looks to be one of them. The Nixie Palace, Calamayor was open. There are very few hotels open. Yachts come in all shapes and sizes. This is a rather a strange looking one, quite high out of the water, looking a little sort of stubby nosed. Here we've got the party boats, and boats that take people out on excursions. Not going anywhere at the moment. These are boats that would take the party groups out. They've been tied up now for a year or more. It all costs money, and they've got to keep them ship shape. So there's a lot of maintenance that goes on with craft like this. It's not looking too clear yet when the season's going to start. The newspapers have been suggesting that the government wants to start again in June. But it's all up in the air depending on how the vaccinations roll out. And one suggestion here from the hotels is that people working in the hotels get their vaccinations before much of the general public, so that we can actually start to stimulate some tourism. Whatever everybody else will tell you, the island very much relies upon tourists. No tourists, no money coming into the island. This is the auditorium. It's one of the biggest, perhaps the biggest theatre on the island, and puts on many shows normally throughout the year, and Anita will be going there to watch the orchestra perform, but nothing much going on at the moment. They are looking forward to restarting when the conditions allow. our orchestra, we have a symphony orchestra, exceptional symphony orchestra, who put on a season of concerts. But because of the restrictions, they're not allowed to do that. But they're putting them online, so they're actually free to anybody who wants to watch them on YouTube. So if you want to listen to some wonderful music performed by some excellent players, the Balearic Symphony Orchestra are on YouTube. Some of the more smaller boats. So we're going to have a go at walking across the stepping stones. Sometimes though we'll actually walk across here because it's dry. I think in a previous video I've spoken about the fact that there is no tide in the Mediterranean, but the water level does fluctuate a little. But that fluctuation is due really to air pressure or to any storms that we might have had. So it may be a fraction higher today. We're going to have a go at the stepping stones. Oh, we made it. Bars and restaurants are closed obviously, but some of them do open to give you a sort of takeaway coffee. This one's closed today. It's February and it's 2021, but January, February are the time when the oranges ripen and they're good for picking. Not sure how good these are. We've had some excellent oranges at home, making wonderful orange juice, which we'll have a little bit later on when we get back home. In many parts of the island we find these little torrentes, these little rivers that go into the water, and quite often we'll find ducks, and a lot of ducks here today. So this water's fairly fresh. Walked along here many times and there's always something to surprise you, and I've never actually noticed this little chapel before. It's Sunday and the door's open, so maybe there's a service on. This is the fishing port and where the fishermen come in, bring in. This is the fish market. Our friend Jaime works here, so it's somewhere we've visited many times in the past. Usually come at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning with the school groups. Managed to get the children up that early, with the parents, and come along here and watch them auctioning off the fish and other sea animals. So it's a very interesting place, but you have to arrive here very early in the morning. Across the road we've got the art museum. This is Espelluard. One day we'll have to see if we're allowed to video in there. And this is where the fishing boats tie up, and at one time there used to be a lot of fishing boats here, and they would be 2 or 3 deep tied up along. We don't seem to have so many at the moment. Don't know what's happened there, but not so many fishing boats at all. This is where the fishermen lay out their nets and their ropes, clean them, repair them. Again, in the past I've seen a lot more fishing nets out here. Looks as though there are some which have just been dumped to the side. There's a little breeze and quite a few sailing boats out there enjoying the breeze. The sun's trying to pop through, but there's some clouds out there, so it's giving some interesting lighting conditions. It looks quite calm. This is the Parc de Mar. It's one of the places we'd usually stop off for a coffee, a little rest before we made our way back. But the bar's not open today. You're not allowed to serve us any drinks, so we can just admire the view from this side, looking at the cathedral and the palace next to the cathedral. The building here in front of us is the Aduana. This is the customs office. Usually a lot of street performers around here, collecting money from tourists. And just in front there we've got the tourist information office. Our youngest daughter worked there for a time during one of the summers. We're going to walk back past Ramon, statue to Ramon. We're going to walk on the opposite side from the sea, and it gives a different view, and see some of the promenades that we have on this side and some of the different buildings. Whenever you see a building like this with flags outside, it's usually a government building. This one's a culture building from the Gobierno, the government of the Baleares. And we can see there's three flags up there. The one on the left is for the islands, the one in the middle is the Spanish flag, and the European Union flag. Some deserted squares. Look at the wonderful architecture that Palma has to offer. Some of it dating back hundreds of years. Built 600 years ago and would quite often here have exhibitions. Looking pretty empty today though. The architect Guilherme Sagrera of this building is also the architect of the cathedral. Had our coffee now and we're just going to walk back. This is the area of Mallorca and some magnificent buildings. Here's a statue to the poet Rubén Darío, who was also a Freemason, and a few years ago I came along with a group of Masons here and we did actually lay a wreath in memory of Rubén. These steps take us to an elevated walkway where we can look down on the Paseo Maritimo and we can look down on the boats and the sea. It's a little bit rickety though. Be careful. As in many parts of Palma, a lot of graffiti. Some of it quite artistic, some of it is just graffiti. Years ago there used to be a disco here. It was quite famous in Palma, and the windmills, they would be like the marking points for it. Everything here seems to have fallen into a little bit of disrepair, and the walls have been fairly recently painted, but as soon as you paint them quickly the graffiti artists come in, and these are not artists at all. They can't take away the magnificent view. There's Belvedere Castle in the distance. Background to the windmills, Los Molinos. In the past, this walkway has been one of the places we've come to watch the fireworks that traditionally used to go with the San Sebastian celebrations. We haven't had fireworks for a number of years. I don't know whether it's due to expense. They did claim it was something to do with the environment, but we've not had the San Sebastian firework displays, which were absolutely magnificent here in the Bay of Palma for a number of years. So we're going to head down. We passed the Hard Rock Cafe. We're just coming down the last few steps, and it brings us out by the Hard Rock Cafe.
This is not cappuccino, no?
No, next to the Hard Rock Cafe, this used to be cappuccinos. It's now changed hands and has a different name, Emblematic. Top of this road we've got another hotel. It's the part of the Marriott group, but I'm not sure whether that one's open. That one usually is open all year round. At the top of the steps there we have the Namaste Indian restaurant, one of our regular haunts. In fact, on Friday night we had a takeaway from there. Excellent food. First bar here is the Three Lions. Not celebrating the rugby from yesterday, I don't think. Here we are back at the auditorium, and Nita's asked me to just video this part. A little bit of music for her. Some music and a treble clef. This is where we get the tickets when we're going to see a show. It's the stage entrance for the people who are performing. And then this is the main entrance that we would go through to watch a show. So So we've been coming here for more than 30 years. Seen some great performances. This is quite a new monument, I've not seen this before. Put up by the Rotary International to mark the work that has been done by the heroes for the COVID-19. So Palma, July 2020. Well, we've just about completed our circular tour. We've walked all the way to the cathedral and all the way back again. I hope you've enjoyed the walk, and if you have, please share it with your friends so everyone can see it. If you haven't already subscribed, then hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.